All right, we're here again. Oh, it's unfortunate. I can't seem to get the chat right on the other program, but it was nice because it didn't have the jitters of the setup on here now. Anyway, I'm back. I hope people will join me. I know it's a little bit confusing. There we go. I see you there, buddy. Thank you. What is that? Jot dot. It's working, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, people are starting to pour in. I'm glad to see you here. So for the hey Morgan, what's going on? 741. Good evening. 10,000 subscribers. I'm excited. We're back. Everyone's coming in. I'm glad to see that. So I don't know. Let me ask you guys, on the other feed, was it as jittery as this is? You know how I have motion sickness issue here? Yeah, I couldn't see everyone's comments, which these live feeds are interactive. I want to be able to talk back and forth. So I'll try again next time, but for now, it looks like this is what we're going with. So I had the bandwidth. I added a new antenna for the wireless, so it seemed to be working, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys, welcome. I'm Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms. I'm glad you could join me. I know it's a day off, and I gave very little notice as far as when I would actually be on the air. Had some scheduling conflicts for tomorrow, so unable to do it tomorrow, but wanted to get together, talk with somebody. I'm always down for conversation, and the topics tonight, anything you want, man. We can talk radios, we can talk about lots of stuff, but the big thing tonight is that not only am I live on YouTube, and not only have I hit 10,000 subscribers, but I am live on, you can't see the mic, it's right there. I'm live on 1670 AM radio. 1670 is my little Part 15 AM radio station. I haven't done a live show on 1670 in years. Here it is. So I would like to welcome you all to Wasted Radio, 1670 AM. And I'm also broadcasting through another app on another laptop over here through Shoutcast, which is another internet feed that just does like streaming. So I stream based out of this old laptop. So we're everywhere tonight. So I'm going to, when somebody asks a question, I see people already saying hi and everything, and I'll get to you. I'll repeat everything they say just so those on the internet that don't have the ability to see what's going on can at least hear and understand the conversation. So there we go. Yeah, 741. The other feed was a little better. That's what it looked like to me. And unfortunately, I don't want to stop the feed and like spend 20 minutes trying to figure it out, because I did tell people 7:30. So we're here, and I'm glad you all decided to join me. Dustin Adams, hey, what's up, buddy? We got lots of people. Retro Electrons 2, that's a cool name. Hello to you. Frank, did you get the new President Andy in your car? No, I have not had a chance to do that. It's not been a great week. I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't want to get into all the details of it, but a lot of stress going on, job changes, some personal issues that came up, some stuff in the news that bothered me, and just life in general. Every once in a while, we get smacked upside the head. And I'd pretty much say that's what happened to me this week. So not a lot other than just buckling down and doing the work that needed to be done. But let's see what else is going on. How'd the install go? Well, William, if you're talking about the radio, it hasn't been done. If you're talking about the base station antenna tower project, it's done tomorrow morning, which was going to be, a precursor to this show tomorrow night. I will upload the final video of it. You'll get a chance to see the process and how it all worked out. Let's see what else we got here. Vegan driver. Hey, you're back. Cool, man. Hey, Eric. Happy to have another live feed. I'm back home in North Carolina this time. Good for you, man. Good for you. Welcome home, right? How long till you head back out? Retro Electrons 2. Yes, the antenna is up. The second antenna is up. I had to take the tower back down. The defective SolarCon Max 2000 is now back. Well, it should be on its way back to that company, but I did get a replacement. The replacement had a small issue. I also have a video that I will show you of that. So I've got some mixed feelings about it, but no, it's up and it's working. Skip is not rolling at all tonight, but I do have the radio on. We will try to make contacts. Hopefully, sporadic conditions will, increase, and we'll have a chance to try that. So let's see what else is going on here. Dustin Adams, you got your new CB installed. Well, that's awesome. 741, you had a stressful week. Yeah, man, maybe it's something in the air. I don't know, but probably one of the toughest weeks I've had in I'd say 3 or 4 years. So it was rough. I'm going to try to maintain a positive mood tonight. And we can always talk about cool stuff, and that'll cheer me up, I'm sure. But yeah, it might not show on my face, but it's been a tough one. Holy cow. Quit your job as a truck driver to go back to college at Forsyth. Vegan driver, good for you. Nothing wrong with going to college, especially if you have a plan as to what you want to do in life. Too many people probably, I live in a college town myself, so too many people enroll in colleges, go through 4 or sometimes 8-year programs and get out still not really knowing what it is they want to do. So as long as you got a plan, go for it. Talking radios is good therapy, 741 says. Yes, I agree. On the radio front, biggest news, obviously, and y'all saw the video this morning, thanks to a fellow YouTuber who told me that I was, that someone was interested in talking with me. The President Corporation, which is based in France, which used to be linked with Uniden, they shared chassis and radios for many years. And I'm not sure what happened in the interim, but for about 5 years now, they've been back in business, making both amateur radios, 10-meter radios, and CB radios. Long story short, they got in contact with me and we talked a little bit, and it looks like, and I've got my fingers crossed here, that the Andy is the first of quite a few radios that they may be interested in having me do reviews of. And, I love radios. I love CB radios. I love amateur stuff as well. So I think it's a huge opportunity for me. I'm super excited. And to be honest with you, I'm doing these reviews. They're not paying me to do these reviews. They never said a word about me, not, speaking highly of them if I chose not to. So there's no pressure on me to give you a fake review or tell you that I like something when I don't. But I got to tell you, and I think it showed just in my unboxing video, the Andy is turning out to be one heck of a cool radio. The functions and all the little doodads they packed into a very small framework. I'm loving it, man. It's really cool. Had this been any other week, but this week it would have already been installed in my car. Unfortunately, like I said, it's just been real hectic, so I haven't had a chance. But I did hook it up and talk over the base station antenna. I had it hooked up to a power supply here. It's a talker. It's awesome. Can't wait to do range tests with it. I'm really excited about it. And I'm really excited that President has noticed me and decided that I'm worthy of taking a look at some of these radios for him. So I look forward to the future and my collaborations with them. So that's cool. I don't know. I'm not sure which is a bigger deal, to be honest with you, hitting 10,000 subscribers or getting a kind of a unofficial deal going with the President Radio Corporation. So I'm super excited about that. Let's see what else is going on here. 697 Nashville. I just got down. All right, my man. What's up? Yeah, the heat sink is a nice feature. That was my biggest surprise. I pulled it out of the box. I'm thinking, okay, this is like their entry level radio that they're offering. How much, is it going to have? And, if you got a heat sink, you're almost looking at an export radio right off the bat. Now, I'm not very mechanically inclined or electronically inclined, so I don't know, looking at a resistor or a final, what I'm looking at as far as ratings. But if it's got a heat sink like that, what I do know is it's very unlikely that thing's going to burn out if it's set up properly. You could probably key down on that thing and talk for an hour straight, and it might get warm, but it won't burn out. And that was just the beginning of what turned out to be a lot of cool features that the Andy has. Got some people rolling in here. Glad you're working with the new president. Interesting to see the new radios they have. Yeah, man. Okay, so before I bought the Uniden 980, I looked at getting a president, and some people had asked me about them, and I looked at I think it's the Uniden or the President Grant 2, which is no longer being sold here in the U.S. And it had some really nice features. Was a really interesting radio, and it was in the same case as the Uniden 980, which I also found interesting. So I considered it, but I'm not a very wealthy man. I've got a Hugo. So in the end, I did not go with that because of price, and I was able to find a used Uniden 980 for a real good price. But it was a real toss-up, and something I thought about a lot. So they have the Lincoln, and they have a bunch of different models out now, and I'm really excited to check them out, dig into them, and see what they can do. Scott Smith says hi. Hey, Scott. What's going on, brother? Oh, well, Adam is saying right out of the box that little radio does about 20 watts. Not too shabby. No kidding. I have not played with. You know what? I didn't even hook it up to a watt meter when I had it hooked up here. Well, maybe it's a good thing I don't have it hooked back into the car yet. Maybe I'll hook it back up and give it another shot here and see what kind of output it has. I'm sure it's adjustable. I don't really get into peaking and tuning. I don't have any kind of gear to do that the right way, and there's no one around here that does it either the right way or the wrong way that I'm aware of. But stuff to play with. I love it. Fix It Man says, hello from Kansas. Really like my channel. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Obviously, somebody out there likes it. 10,000 subscribers it's huge. It's huge. I never thought that I would get near that number, let alone hit that number. And the increase this year alone has just been humongous. I think I started the year off with, I think it was like low 3,000s. So the fact that I've seen that kind of growth on this channel in a year that's impressive. That's impressive. Hard work pays off, as they say. Michael Root, can CB waves travel through walls easily? All radio waves can travel through material like that, but you're cutting down your signal strength for sure. So in a pinch, yes, you can talk inside of a building, but range is range is limited when you do stuff like that. How much so depends on the materials the house is built out, how good the insulation is, what materials are made out of. Is it steel I-beam in structure? Is it all wood? Is it, there's a lot to it. So there's no exact rate that you're going to get that's going to say, hey, you're going to lose exactly half your signal. So I hope that helps there. Frank is saying the Lincoln 2 Plus is a very interesting radio to play with. I hope I get a chance to play with that one because I think that's kind of the cream of the crop for the President Company right now. And I'm excited to give that I'm excited to play with that. I can just see that being installed in one of my cars. I haven't had a sideband radio installed in any of my cars in years. So just thinking about the range tests and other stuff that I can do with that is just like, yeah, I'd like to play with that. Yeah, Adam's saying 10K subs. Woohoo! Yeah, buddy. I'm saying if it must be indoors, put it in a window. That's true. That's true. Glass is thin, and it does radio waves do tend to pass through it a little easier than some other material. So that's definitely a help. Electrons 2, you are interesting, and who else has a Yugo? That does make me unique these days, doesn't it? No? That little Yugo over there. I drove it to work last Friday, and it's got a new master cylinder on it. I had to replace that recently, and that's doing okay. It's doing okay. It still needs work. It's a Yugo. It's always going to need work, but it's fun to drive, and it certainly turns a lot of heads. In fact, I bet it turns more heads than a Lamborghini would in town. Just so many people come up to me and relate a story of family or friend that had one of those cars back in the day, and just the amazement that it's still running. And I use it as a badge of honor that I must be one heck of a good mechanic to have a running Yugo in 2018. So I like that part of it. Let's see what else we got here. Michael Root, are you a Nebraska Cornhuskers fan? I don't follow sports. I know, man. It's going to shock a lot of people out there. But I played, when I was younger, played football. And I don't know, man. Just not into sports. Just I don't have cable TV. I don't hardly have any local TV. So I just choose to spend my free time in other ways. Let's see. Oh, boy, stuff's been going on here. You'll give us some time. William Hewlett saying, give us some time. I'll bet you continue to see growth, especially with some of the new radio reviews in the future. I think so. I don't know how many people there are that are interested in this subject. So I would imagine I'll probably max out somewhere around 15,000. And that's fine. That's, it's like 5 times more than I ever thought I would get on this channel. And this channel really wasn't a radio channel in its inception. It was more about homesteading. But I came across that huge lot of base station radios. So I'm making some videos on those as I clean them up. And now working with President, that's going to be helpful. So it's been fun. I like, it's my hobby and I like filming it. So it's working out really well. Let's see stuff. 741 saying I haven't had a CB in years, but have been digging out my old radios to see if they still work. Cool, man. It's always nice. Now, as long as you don't throw them out. Just too many people throw away stuff like that and don't realize, they're hard to replace. This guy was saying he was looking for my radio station, but all he got was skip. All he got was music. Did you say you were out? I'm on 1670 AM radio, but brother, it would be a miracle of modern everything if you were able to pick up my signal. We're talking about 100 milliwatts or, I don't even know. Maybe it's not even whatever the Part 15 legal transmitting power out of an AM radio transceiver is. That's what I've got. So I'm using the Hamilton Range Master with a 9-foot whip up here with a nice ground plane. But I would imagine the range on this thing's probably 2 miles. And I do run the radio station all the time. Back when I lived in a bigger city, I reached more people. But for me, it's more about I don't know, the symbolic nature of having my own radio station. It was something I wanted when I was a kid. So that's what's going on there. Hello, do you think, Blazing Spike is asking, hello, do you think about the 1224 Annie? Oh, you're looking for a 24 volt? Man, I'm telling you, my initial impressions on the Andy are incredibly positive. It's got weather, it's got scan, it's got a memory function, it's got Roger Beep, which I'm like a total geek when it comes to Roger Beep. So I love that stuff. I know some people don't. It's got talkback. It's got a multicolor display. It's got a very nice heat sink for the final. I mean, I could go on and on. I'm not trying to make this into an ad for the Andy, but I am getting some questions here on it. So I'm super happy with the Andy so far. I think you would be too. Nathan Gates is saying, I have a Cobra 29 Classic and truck antenna output on a pole outside of my house. Sometimes I get a signal, I have to screw the cable in and out. Okay, then you got a bad cable, or you got a bad connection in your radio. So you could take the cover off, it's usually Phillips head screws, and make sure that the center electrode is going to your circuit board, doesn't have a crack in it. Sometimes the solder joints get cracks. I don't know if you're good with a soldering iron, but that's actually a fairly easy fix if there is an issue there. But you could try replacing the cable, or if that doesn't fix it, the next step is you probably have a crack on the solder board. Probably got tugged at some point and it pulled down and just crack the solder joint or crack the wire going to it. Try not to transmit too much if you're not sure if that's working or not, because you can damage the final if it's not hooked up right. Vegan driver, I've only had radio on my trucks. I'm planning to put a Bearcat 880 in my shop with a power supply. Would you recommend a cheap antenna, or refer me to an appropriate video of yours? I am working on 3 videos related to base station antennas. Vegan, let me just tell you right now, if I had to choose a base station antenna, if you have a little bit of, okay, I don't know what cheap is, but let's say this. Tram makes I think it's the Saturn B100, which is like this tall. It's very short. It's not, I mean, it is a no ground plane antenna, but you have to have 50 feet of wire coming off of that thing in order for it to work properly. So it's very inexpensive, but it's not a very good producer. If I were going to get a low-end base station antenna, I would do what I did when I was younger and had no money. I would get a 102 steel whip. They're about $24.99 if you can find them. And then I would get a ground plane. It looks like a star, and it screws onto the bottom of that 102, and that adds a ground plane since you won't be hooking it to your vehicle. And then you can hook wire to it and use that as a base station antenna. It works really well for what it is. That ground plane kit's like $13. The antenna's like $24. You get the wiring. You're looking at like hopefully less than $50 for a really good. To move up from that, the Antron A99 is the way to go. But you're looking at probably with wire right at $100. So things to think about. But if you can hang in there, the video that I'm working on, I just haven't edited it yet. It has part 1, and it talks about very inexpensive options. And I think that's probably what you're looking at, because money's not easy to come by. I understand that. Michael Root is asking if I am a President Trump fan. Brother, the reason I have 10,000 subscribers is because I don't talk politics. I'll talk Constitution with you. I'll talk about freedoms with you, but I'm not going to get into politics on this channel. I would love to. Someday I may start a second channel where I become, Alex Jones II or something like that. Oh, that's it. We're probably banned right there. Let's see here. Vegan driver saying you have a great channel, and I hope you keep the homesteading stuff going too. Yeah, this summer has been kind of like late summer was, but the whole summer has been that way. So busy doing, not enough time filming. The only project I really filmed was the major garage expansion, which I did a series on, and a couple of small repair videos. But tractor videos, I've got that new Kubota and all that kind of stuff. I really haven't had time to film it. I've been so dang busy, and then I've had some life events, that I really don't want to get into tonight. But yeah, I'd like to, and maybe when the fall hits and I have a little more free time. Yeah, maybe if I have a little more free time, I'll get more into the homesteading stuff, because it's truly my real passion. It's the reason I'm here in the mountains of North Carolina. So someone's asking, oh gosh, I missed a couple. Morgan saying he lives just outside of Albany. I have family that lives in outside of Syracuse. I think it's Manlius, New York. I don't know. How do you pronounce that? Jordan B. is asking if the Andy has a PA function. Yes, it does. 741 saying I got my old President Grant original model going on now. Wow. Yeah, the President Grant, which became the Unit Grant, they made the original, and then they had the XL, I think it was, and then the LT, which is what I owned. Great radios, just really powerful, good radios. Blazing Spike says, thanks for answering. I've been looking since I help out with a junkyard, and when you're up in the woods needing a loader, the CB radio would help us out. That's a perfect use for a CB radio. Would be a junkyard. You're talking, a mile square, or maybe 2 miles square, or even 3 miles square for some of these really big ones. You could put a base up on, the top of the building, and have a couple of mobile units in the dozer or the whatever you're using to haul the cars around with. Perfect setup. You could put a PA on the base setup and be able to talk to people out in the shop. That's what CB was made for, as far as I'm concerned. I know they say you're not supposed to use CB for business, but they're talking about taxi type businesses where they're going to be constantly using it and owning a channel. I think it's perfectly safe and legal to do that for a small business like that. Someone wants to know if RG58 coax is the best for CB. Wrong. That's definitely no. So RG58 is like the thinnest with the highest loss of signal wire that you can get. The next step up is RG8X, which is a little bit thicker but has much better insulation value. And then up from that, you have RG8U, which is pretty much extinct, but that's about the size of your pinky, a much thicker material. And then you go up to RG213, which has kind of replaced RG8. That's a big fat cable. And then you have LMR 400, which is even more modern, but it's a little harder to work with. So for a mobile install, I would recommend RG8X. And for a base station install, especially one that has cabling over maybe 25 feet, I would go with RG213 or LMR 400. My gosh, I actually answered like a question really, really well. Sweet. Frank is asking, Frank is telling me I have 2 radios right now, the Stryker SR 955 Magnum S3. Frank, you suck. I love those. I would love to have a radio that nice. Those are like, super top of the line. I think they're considered export radios, but they put out a ton of power. They have a lot of options, and no doubt, man, Stryker's a good company. They used to, I won't get into it, but yeah, I like Stryker a lot. 741 Mako V50, the 5/8 antenna. I don't know, man. I don't know because I've never owned one. I know the SolarCon Max 2000, I think, is considered a 5/8 antenna. So I think they're probably similar, in size and function. But I have heard a lot of people say the Mako is the best antenna out there. Isn't it like all aluminum where the Antron and the SolarCon Max are fiberglass? Oh, man, I'm missing out on a bunch of these. Michael Root says, my girlfriend thinks you're handsome. Well, Michael, your girlfriend, I appreciate that. Maybe might be time to check her glasses if she wears them. Time for a prescription change, perhaps. But I appreciate that. Thank you. Josh, top of the evening. Oh, wow, cool. What'd you get, Josh? So 6 or 7 mobile radios for $30. There we go. That's the kind of deals I love to see, man. Well, what'd you end up getting? Jim Walsh is pointing out that RG213 is good for about 3 kilowatts. That's 3,000 watts, which is like almost, that's like way more power than you're supposed to be running on CB. Even, big old amps that you see, back from the 80s and 90s, those are usually in the 400 watt to 800 watt range. Most amps you see these days are like 200 watt range or less. So you're going to be glowing in the dark if you key down on something like that. Josh is saying he's got 2 old Johnson Messengers. One was a Viking with SSB, sweet, an old GE radio, and an old realistic 40 channel. Sounds like a heck of a score, man. You ought to start uploading videos of those things. GE radios are actually pretty good radios. I had one for many years in an old Jeep that I had, and it was a good performer, 40 channel AM. Not too fancy, but man, it sounded great. 741 says Mako is all aluminum and based on the old Avanti Sigma design. I've had one for 8 years now. Tunes up to 20 meters. Cool, man. Gets you into Europe. Right on, man. Yeah, I mean, I've never heard a bad thing about them. I think the people that usually have them. You know, they're proud of them. They like them. So money, unfortunately for me, that was what pushed me towards the Max 2000. And I'll tell you, and I don't want to get into it now, but between having a defective one right out of the box and having the second one have an issue, my opinion of Antron has kind of dipped. You know, my A99 is probably one of the best antennas durability wise that I've ever owned, but not doing too good here. Josh says, oh, there was also a Midland one-hander. Sweet. Now, I love the one-handers. You know, I've got one still in one of my cars. So, yeah, those are great for cars that don't have a lot of space. Adam is saying those old GE radios are pretty good. My son has a GE with a K40, and he talks at least 6 miles with it easily. Yep. Yeah. I like them. I mean, I can't. They're just decent radios. They just do the right thing. They're no frills, but they were built well. And, you know, now we're talking 20-plus years on, and they're still working great. Josh is saying there was an old high gain that was there, too, and an old Craco emergency radio and an Archer. Man, you hit the jackpot. You got a meter. And that Craco emergency radio, just throw that in your wife or girlfriend's car, man. Just, you know, don't throw that stuff out. Just throw it in the trunk. Someday somebody might need it. The Sirio Tornado antenna, Pistol Whip is telling me. Okay. I've heard of Sirio antennas. I've never had one. Jim Walsh is saying he runs a Palomar 300A. Palomar is probably the most popular brand of amplifier from back in the day. I don't know if they're still around. I doubt it. But over the years, I certainly have come across many of them. I had friends who had 400-watt Palomar Elites and had them in their cars, had them at their house, and you know, did pretty good. 741 is saying the A99 is a workhorse too. Many people here in Connecticut ran those with no issues. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Maybe I should have stuck with the A99 and just bought a new one. And I mean, you know what? I'm not going to trash it because the Max 2000 is up. It's working. The noise floor is like a 1 to 2 when there's no skip rolling. So good. The SWR is below 1.5, which is, you know, what you want. And so I'm happy with it. It was just such a bunch of headaches, and it was headaches at the wrong time. So really was kind of a bummer getting up there. But now that it's up, I've got no complaints. It's working. Charlie Porch is saying old Cobra from the 1970s SSB. Tell me the best antenna I need. If you're going to be installing it in a mobile setup like a car, I have the Tram 3500, which is the equivalent, I would say, of the Wilson 5000 or the K40. And any of those three antennas is going to be a great antenna, but the Tram is like $20 less. I've had mine for a year and a half now. It's very nice, talks great, works great. It's big. If you want to have a slightly smaller antenna that works well, again, and I don't have any relationship with Tram, but I have the Tram 300. And that little booger was only about 36 inches tall, works great. So I've been very happy with both those. And they both work. I think the range went up about 1 S unit, maybe 1.5 when I went from the 300 to the 3500. So if you're looking for maximum range, the 3500 is probably the way to go. If you're looking for something that's a little more discreet or not as big of an eyesore, as my wife puts it, the 300 is probably what you want. I missed a couple of these here. Frank's just saying he misses the old A99. And 2 old external speakers. Josh, check and see what those go to. If they match the Cobra 2000, they're probably worth about $75 a piece. If they match the unit in Madison, I think it is, they're probably worth about $75 a piece. So that's something for you to check on. Morgan Russman, I do have some CB radios, but unfortunately none of them work right now. But when they did at night, I think I could hear a little bit of skip. Yeah, man, skip is that's where I have my fun. I do talk with some local groups, and I do try to talk, back and forth to the house sometimes when I'm out and about. But skip is where you're going to feel most like you're hanging out in the ham world. You know, you get on lower sideband on channel 38, and it's just like being a ham radio operator. You can talk all over the world. I know because I do. Blaze and Spike. I am running my base station off a 102 whip on a Galaxy 959. See? Yeah, it works great for that stuff. Jim saying he runs in a Max 2000. Jim, how's yours holding up? How many years have you had it? That's my big curiosity now. Dude, there's an aluminum tower they threw into. Josh, send me your address. I'm going to be by later on tonight to pick that up. You don't want to mess with that. You don't need that. Just send that my way. Let's see here. 38 lower size bands rolling where Pistol Whip is. Man, not here. Well, it's picking up a little bit. I see now my sound floor is up to about 2 to 3. So little by little, we're heading into a little skip here. Michael Root hooked up his Midland to a Wilson 1000. Wilson 1000 is like the equivalent of the K30 or the Tram 300. So they're all very similar. They're all basically, designed to compete with each other, and they pretty much do the same thing. Ricky Powers, I'm starting to get back into CBs. I still have my first hand-me-down radio, a Galaxy DX33. That's a heck of a hand-me-down right there, bro. That's pretty cool. 2 handhelds, 1 Radio Shack, 1 Cobra Road Tripper, 1. You got a Striker hand-me-down? And Cobra LX, 1 Chrome, 1 Camel. Man, that's a collection, Rick. That's cool as heck, man. I'll tell you what. Like I said, y'all need to start making videos of your own. I want to see some of these radios. I want to see people playing, man. Jim says 2 years now. Love it. Marky, sub, Eric. Congratulations on 10K subs. Marky, it's your song, man. Push me over the edge. Your song has taken me from, I think I had about 7,000 when we worked that out, and now I've got 10. So there's 3,000 subs that's all because of you. Appreciate it, man. Seriously, I love it. Still love that song. By the way, Marky, I want to talk to you. I guess we could do this right now. I have started uploading videos on BitChute and on Steemit. Is it okay if I use the theme song on those platforms as well? That's just a question for you. If it isn't, I'll be happy to take them back down. But I need to go back in and put your contact information on those. But if it's okay with you, I'd like to use them on those channels as well. 741 saying he's heard a little bit of activity on 38. That's out there. Yeah, I haven't heard anything yet. Matter of fact, mine just dropped back down. But Ricky Power says, what would you recommend for a base station? Man, the Unit 980. It's got everything you need out of a base station. If you're looking to get a physical base station, I don't know what modern base station has the functions that you're looking for. Probably going to cost you a bunch, though. I'm going to imagine it'd be a Galaxy. The old unit in Washington, which is what I had for many years, those are great radios, but they lack features that modern radios have. So I'm more apt at this point to get a power supply and a mobile and make it a base station. So the 980 really has everything anyone needs to get started in the hobby as far as base stations go. Yeah. There's always something that needs a little fixing on Farpoint Farms. You got that right. Marky, okay, great, man. Great. I appreciate it. I'm setting up platforms on other social media networks. I'm not happy with some of the stuff that's been going on with censorship here at YouTube. I haven't been affected too badly yet. Like we talked about before, my cigar videos were demonetized and some of my other videos were demonetized when clearly we're not doing anything here that's, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't want to get into it too deeply, but so I've chosen to support some of the newer platforms, and I'm going to be re-uploading my older videos to those platforms. And I appreciate the fact that I have your permission to do so. And I'll be sure to give you credit when that happens. Yeah, and power supply hooked to a mobile is the most budget friendly. Again, you could probably get a unit in Washington on eBay, for around $100 with shipping, but it's going to be an old radio, and the power supplies have problems, and other things have problems, and for that reason alone. But the fact that it doesn't have scan function, doesn't have weather functions, doesn't have frequency counters built in, all those things were doodads we used to have to buy and add on and do all this stuff to get them to work back in the day. And you get a unit in Grant fresh out of the box and does all that stuff. So. Yeah, this I wish I could pronounce. I wish there was a way you could tell me how to pronounce your name there. But Jordan B, good idea. YouTube is canceling some of my favorite channels. Mine too. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, someday I think probably I'll start a second channel and I'll rant and rave about these kind of things. But the fact that we're having to have this conversation is sad. It's just sad. I don't know. Old school, I agree. Those old Washingtons are nice. They are beautiful. That was my first true base station setup, and I had it from 97 all the way up to like 2012, I think, when it finally let the magic smoke out of it. So I loved it, but compared to these new modern radios, I don't think I'd go back and buy another one. Marshall's saying sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Here at Farpoint Farms, it is. I'm not into the wacky tobacco. We're just all cheap cigar reviews here, but you'd think that I was up to no good the way that they treated my videos. So who knows? Frank is saying you probably would need the electrolytes. We'll need to replace the caps, which, on these things. They just get old. So Adam saying magic smug. Oh, man. But I've seen it happen, too. A couple times been my fault. A couple times just been random. Just one when the Washington that I had died. I turned it on and was just had it sitting on 38 and no skip roll and nothing going on. And all of a sudden the meter light flickered and there it was gone. So that was it, and I'm pretty good at fixing stuff, but it was in the power supply and I was not able to fix it cheap enough that I wanted to mess with it. So I sold it on eBay. I actually got $50 or $60 for it broken. So not a bad deal, and reinvest that money into other things. Let's see. Michael Root's asking, what do you think of the Midland Radio Company calling themselves Midland USA when they are made in China? I have no opinion on that, to be honest with you. I didn't know that they had done that. I think they're probably referring to, this is a guess because I don't know. I haven't kept up on any of this kind of stuff, but I believe it probably has to do with Midland US, as in the radios are marketed for the US. If you look at the President Andy, it says President USA. The company's actually based in France, I believe. And it's different. Obviously, the European market, you have AM and FM modes. So, and that might be what they're talking about. I don't know if Midland has moved into foreign markets and is selling, export radios at this point. I don't know. That's about all I can say about that, I guess. Oh, gosh. I'm going to give it another few minutes here, and we'll actually try to get on the air. I can't believe it's already been a half hour. Unfortunately, I see our viewership numbers aren't as good as the last few times we've been on the air. But again, I gave like everyone an hour's notice, so that kind of an issue. Let's see here. Assembled in China. I don't know, Adam. Again, I haven't really messed with any New Midland stuff. I had a 1000Z that was in my wife's car 5 or 6 years ago, but we replaced it. And they do make radios. They've got that, that one-hander that's got all kinds of stuff going on with it, but I've never come across one in the wild, so I'm not sure. Morgan Rushman is saying, have you tried Twitch yet? I know they do live streams, but I've read somewhere that they supposedly can do pre-recorded videos now. I don't know if it's true, but I haven't tried yet. I have not tried Twitch. A lot of this stuff is happening at like a real rapid pace as far as changes in the environment online. As I'm sure we all have been watching the news a little bit, or even if you haven't been watching the news, it's pretty hard to miss the issues with censorship that are going on right now. So just being proactive, probably I'm late to the game, to be honest with you. I think we're all late to the game. I think we all saw what was going on and thought, here or there, and, you don't really get involved because you don't want to get involved. I understand how that is. I don't want to get involved a lot of times. We all have our own lives we want to do. But seeing the increase, seeing people get what they call shadow ban, and seeing stuff like that happening, and just outright bans, and the newest thing now being what's called deplatformed, or as Mark Dice says, unpersoned, it's really got me worried, man. It's really got me afraid. I think everyone should be able to realize that no matter what your personal feelings are politically, one thing we should all agree on is our constitutional rights. And playing the blame game or offloading the responsibility onto a private firm and saying it's their choice, which it is legally, but do we want a few billionaire company owners deciding what free speech should be in this country, or do we want the Constitution to decide? And it's got me worried. So I am spreading out. I'm going to join a bunch of these things because I have a limited amount of time in the day. I don't know how much effort I can put into covering all these places, but I'm going to try, and I hope everyone else does too. Morgan Russman says, but I'd like to maybe see if it's true. I'm sorry. Let's see. Yeah, Adam's saying, I feel like a caveman. Twitch, learn something every day. Yeah, there's so many of these things popping up, and the reason they're popping up is fairly obvious. So there'll be a shakeout, kind of like there was a shakeout when eBay and Yahoo videos, or Yahoo used to have a sales thing. I can't remember what it was called. YouTube, and there was Yahoo Video, there was Google Video. So there was a shakeout, and now they're forcing another shakeout. So there'll be some new companies coming up, hopefully. G-Wall, just got home. Can you tell us more about AM Radio 1670? Sure, I would love to. 1670 Wasted Radio AM was first put on the air in 1990. I think it would have been 97 or 98. And it was a friend of mine who, I won't say his real name, but he was Rockin' Woody. Rockin' Woody and Mad Dog started their own pirate radio station. I'll say pirate. Using a Ramsey AM transmitter. Ramsey, I think it was the A100 or something like that, which I still have. And Ramsey put out, it's like a build-it-yourself kit, and we put it out. We got on the air. You hook that to a mixing board. In this case, I still have the original mixing board over here hooked up, and hook up a mic or an external audio source, and it allows you to mix those two channels, just like a real radio station would have. And we're on the air. I mean, that was it. So we started with that, and I used a piece of steel pipe as the antenna and a good ground, and we were on the air in my little town, and I had about 1.5 mile range out of that thing. So we actually had shows that we did every Friday night, and I'm not going to lie to you, we were young, man. There was a lot of drinking. There was a lot of fun. I'm sure there was a lot of copyright violations, playing music over the air, and probably some FCC violations with some cussing, but, we were young. And as the years went on, the shows got a little less frequent. But we upgraded the radio to a Hamilton Rangemaster, which they still make to this day. There's been some revisions to it, but it's an FCC-approved Part 15 AM radio station. And again, when I moved here, my property almost is the range that this thing has. So I doubt many people hear it, but I still do it. Most of the time, it's on a laptop. I did make a video on the Panasonic laptop that it runs off of. But most of the time, that radio station is playing a Winamp broadcast list that is just reruns of Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. And I play those, most of the time. I also play old shows, and I don't have all my old shows, but a lot of them were recorded. There's nothing that I would want to put on YouTube. There's nothing that I would want to have young, impressionable minds listening to. But it was fun back in the day, and sometimes I'll throw them up on the air and sit out here and listen and enjoy it. Now, Rockin' Woody is still around, and I have talked with him multiple times about doing a split screen show, doing something here on the channel or on any channel. And God, I'd love to do that, but it hasn't worked out. Life gets in the way. We're both busy people, and we live in different parts of the state now, so that also makes it a little harder. But the radio station's still up. It's still on all the time, and it's just a hobby of mine, just like CB is, and I just dig it. But yeah, 1670 Wasted Radio wasted in the AM. That was the catchphrase. And it was Rockin' Woody and Mad Dog in the morning, and Rockin' Woody and Mad Dog at night. We had a great time, man. Those were the days, you say. Okay, let's see here. I've missed a bunch of you while I've been babbling here. Do you use a backup with your base station in case of battery backup in case of a power outage? I do not. I have the ability to do so. I have equipment I've never covered here on this channel, EMP related conversations. I don't want to seem too, fringe, but Farpoint Farms is equipped with safety features along the lines of EPM or EMP pulse issues. So I've actually filmed videos related to it. I've just decided never to upload them. But yeah, there's contingency plans. A backup is a good backup. Michael Rood, liberals hate the Constitution. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I think the masses are easily led. Jim Morrison once said, he who controls the media controls the mind. And I believe that. And that's what we're seeing is the effect of that. When you can shape the conversation and convince people that it's in their own best interest not to have freedoms, we've reached a dangerous place in society. 741, I've done okay on YouTube, but my videos aren't all that controversial. I'm getting tired of the censorship, though. Let people decide for themselves. That's the the silent majority 741 is that's what's really going on. But we're led to believe that's not what people feel, because fringe elements on the left, the right, they both are so loud and so angry about everything that oftentimes they drown out common sense, and that's what we're facing. And that's used to the advantage of people who wish to control us. So, man, I'm getting in trouble tonight. I shouldn't be talking about this stuff. Twitch PC works great. I lost my favorite Cobra 148 in a semi-truck fire, man. That's a bummer, dude. The Cobra 148 is a great radio. It's like the Unit and Grant. Great radio. Let's see. Marky Shaw is asking me, have you ever used an amp in a mobile rig? I've been talking with some local DXers on the radio. Sounded nice with their old school Texas Stars. Texas Star is probably the best of the old school mobile amps as well. They had all the cool lit up buttons. You're looking for something affordable. Marky, maybe send me a private message. I come across stuff like that all the time, and I certainly owe you. So that'd be a great way that I could repay a favor. I don't ever come across Texas Stars, but I might come across a generic something or other that I could send your way. And I would love to be able to return the favor. So that'd be something I'd be happy to do for you. Jason Kane, man, look at this. Sneaky, I was expecting live on Sunday, so I missed half of it. Got on CB, pure static. He's learning Morse code. Yeah, Jason, I have a conflict. I got to do something tomorrow, so I had to change this last minute. Oh, man, I've missed a lot of you guys talking here. How are you, and did you make a video on the antenna? Yes, I did, Ken. It'll be uploaded tomorrow morning. Will be the third and final installment of the tower build. Oh, your son, Adam is saying his son was a DJ. That's cool, man. I always wanted to be in radio, obviously. I'm big into that stuff, but yeah, I wanted to have my own talk show, to be honest with you. So this is kind of an extension. Having my own channel, that's the cool thing about the modern era. YouTube has let us all become television station owners. I want to own, I don't know if any of us saw Weird Al Yankovic's old 80s TV movie, or maybe it was movie, UHF, where he owns an old rundown UHF radio station or movie or television station. Yeah, man, I dreamed of that when I was young. So I think YouTube is kind of my way of having that, although it's not as funny as it would have been in that. But, and as far as radio stations go, playing on ham and CB and on my pirate radio station, that's kind of stuff. Hey, Dave, what's going on? Dave is actually one of my coworkers, man. So he checked in. Glad to see you, Dave. This is my Saturday night here, man. I'm just hanging out in the garage. G-Wall saying you want an EMP video now. Yeah, it's there. I could put it up, but you probably all think I'm nuts. Josh is saying I'm going to trade that Johnson Messenger or Viking for a Cobra 142 base. I think the Cobra 142 is one of the best base stations ever made. One of the most common ones back in the day. It was Unit in Washington and 142s, and the both sides would go at each other. But both great radios. Both have lots of mods available if you want to do extra channels, stuff like that. So. Yeah, actually, guys, John is asking me if I'm going to do DXing, and I hear a lot of skip all of a sudden. So. Jason Kane saying, Eric, this is a huge step, but I can see it happen. Take over where Mr. Bell left off. He did it in the middle of the desert. Granted, he had Back to the Future gigawatts antenna. Now, no kidding. Well, I've got skip rolling. Let me ask you guys. Can you hear that? I'm going to hope you guys can hear that. I'm going to give it a shot. Great. All right. This is channel 38, lower sideband. If any of y'all want to try to turn on your radios, I'll be happy to give you a shout out, and we'll see if we can get it going on. Ready? CQDX. This is Farpoint Farm 707. Farpoint Farm 707. Trying for a break. I hope I'm not talking over anybody. CQDX. This is Farpoint Farms, 707 in the mountains of North Carolina, trying for a break.
North Carolina, South Carolina. World Radio 1240 Wisconsin. We got a copy on you.
1240 Wisconsin, 1240 Wisconsin. This is Farpoint Farms in the mountains of North Carolina. Farpoint Farms, 707. Glad to get a comeback here. I'm actually live on YouTube right now. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. You're definitely Poland Smoke in our regional there, Wisconsin. I'm running a 142 GTO 3-beam element series with there on the Iggy, and Texas Star 350 Hydro, and you're definitely Poland Smoke.
Sounds good, my friend. Sounds good, my friend. Well, I'm on a Uniden 980 SSB. Got it hooked to an IMAX 2000 antenna that I just put up about 40 feet in the air. And I'm talking on an old realistic amplified mic, but it seems to be doing the job, doesn't it? Excellent. Sounding good. Sounding good. Well, I don't know if you've ever heard of me, but I am Farpoint Farms on YouTube. If you want to turn on your computer, you can watch me live as I have a little show tonight and talk about CB radios, man. But it was good chatting with you. I'll let you get back to it. I'll be on the side. This is Farpoint Farms 707 saying bye. Sounding good, man. So is anybody else out there hearing it? Got Vermont, man. What part of Vermont are you at? I lived in, oh my gosh, what part of Vermont was it that I lived in? Outside of Burlington. I can't remember the name of the town, but it was a beautiful, beautiful place in the summertime. 741 can't hear me in Connecticut. Well, some kids are coming in. Well, I am hearing some people tonight. What else y'all want to talk about tonight? The Deacon Driver saying Vermont's the only one of 3 states I haven't been in yet. Yeah, I've been in about 38. Or no, yeah, 38 states. Let me turn that down just a smidge. There we go. Josh saying your handle is the dude if you hear him on the CB. Stepside 86, man, I want an SSB. Yeah. Look, for people who want to get into the CB radio hobby, do yourself a favor and try to find a sideband radio. Most of the long-term or pleasant conversations or DX is taking place on sideband nowadays. AM radio is still going to make good contacts every once in a while, especially if you're traveling, but you really need to have extra power, and then even then it becomes kind of this contest. So I prefer sideband conversations a whole lot more than I do regular AM conversations. So Vegan Driver wants to hear an update on my multi-use tactical tractor, the Mutt. Well, the Mutt still gets used. Matter of fact, I had a conversation with somebody not too long ago where their opinion was that it was a waste of money to build something like that when you could pick up a cheap ATV for $150 to $200. And they might be right. You know, I don't know. But what I have works wonderfully for me. I'm not going, deep trail riding or anything like that. And I'm not going to jump it off a cliff. Somebody's loud and clear here. What I think is good about my little Mutt is that the mower was free. I had about $40 in parts, between bearings and changing the spindle size out and one inner tube. So I don't have a whole lot in it. Obviously I'm mechanically inclined, so it's been fun. I enjoy the Mutt. I still use it probably once or twice a week to run the property, check the fences, stuff like that. Morgan Russman, have you ever read William Forsythe's 1 Second After, 1 Year After, and The Final Day? It deals with the aftermath of an EMP, if you're interested in EMP survival type stories. Morgan, without a doubt, 1 Second After was the single largest influence in my decision to move to the mountains. Does that answer your question? Josh, I don't have anything set up right now. Let's see what else is going on here. Vegan driver's talking about speeding up his tractor. Yes, definitely. It's fun. It doesn't have to be, people can go mild to wild with anything in life. There's a couple guys here on YouTube that really go all out, put ATV tires on them, jack them up. I've even seen a guy who put a custom suspension and upgraded brakes on there. So, man, if you're into it, do it. Justin from Vermont says he wants to set up a base station soon. You should, man. That's where I'm out here in the garage a lot of times working on projects or just contemplating life. I have the radio set up. I have my AM radio station set up. Now, ever since this latest find of mine, I've got a scanner, a Uniden scanner hooked up. So I'm picking up the 3 counties around me with the the Antron A99 antenna hooked up to it. So I hear all kinds of cool action going on from EMS and fire and police, even the jails I'm getting. So I love that. That's a new treat. And I'll be making a video on that at some point. And then I've got, my 2-meter ham, which I haven't really even played with much yet. I've just been so busy since I got the antenna masked up. But it's man cave. Everybody needs a man cave. And I think having the base station out here is just a soothing way. Even listening to static can be soothing. It's white noise. It tends to calm people down. Jason King, can't say enough about the 980, but the new gen, like Eric, because the first gen beeps and will drive you mad. Yes. That is an issue. The 980 had this beeping sound every time you turned a channel or pushed a button or anything, and it was quite loud. I didn't even realize that was such an issue. Luckily, when I got mine, it's the newer version. I wasn't sure because I was buying a used one, so that is something to check in on. Now, there is supposedly a way to open the case up and modify it by popping one of the chips out of it or something like that. I think you pop out one of the little resistors, but not for the faint of heart because all that stuff is surface mount, so it's a little bit scary. Josh is saying, I have an old Radio Shack Navajo if you need a little base station. Yeah, man, those Navajos were great radios. Great, loving it here. Man. More on the MUT, the little riding mower tractor, ATV that I made. I have a trailer that I pull behind it, so my wife and I, sometimes we will even go down and camp on the lower property that I have. I'll throw everything in there and drive it down there, and it's kind of fun to do it. It's more of a toy, I guess, but it's a useful toy. It's something I played with, but it's something that I also get use out of. And, I have no doubt that if I wanted to sell it, I probably could sell it for whatever I have in it. Let's say it's $50. Somebody out there is going to want that mower for $50. They'll put it back together or they'll use the motor off of it or whatnot. So just something I did for fun. And, if you've watched my videos related to tractor videos, I'm always buying and selling tractors and buying stuff and fixing it up. Obviously, since I bought the Kubota this year to do bigger work, those garden tractors and smaller mowers I haven't been using quite as often. And I was warned that would happen, and they were right. The Kubota could do everything. Doesn't mean that the garden tractors aren't fun and aren't useful and aren't utilitarian. I still use the Husqvarna for all of my gardening work, my actual turning and plotting and getting rid of weeds and stuff like that. The Kubota is big and cumbersome compared to the garden tractor. But I did go out and I've got a video that I'm working on for this and get I got a 60-inch deck for the Kubota, and that really cut down on my mowing time, which has been a good time saver. And it's diesel; it gets much better fuel mileage per hour than the Husqvarna does. So I'm totally digging that part of it. Adam's asking if second-gen Uniden radios are made in Vietnam and not China. I don't know. Mine's set up. I don't want to pull it down and look at the back of it, but I didn't even pay attention. Stepside 1986. What do you guys think is the better radio, the Uniden Bearcat 980 or the President McKinley USA? I don't know. I have the 980. I like it. Hopefully at some point President will send me a McKinley and I'll get a chance to test it. And I'll be honest, if one is way better or way worse than the other, I'll be sure to let y'all know. Justin from Vermont said, I came for the lawn tracker and stayed for the CB stuff. Great channel, lots of good info. and I think I talked about this in one of my other videos. Some people, I have gotten comments over the years. They're like, "Man, I'm really into the CB videos, and but I don't want to subscribe to your channel because you just talk about too much unrelated stuff." And that's cool. I get it. If you just want, to watch a TV show, which is what a single episode of my stuff is, then good. But my life is more than just CB radios. So this channel is about my life. It's about all the different hobbies that I have, and it's also about helping people. If you notice, some of my videos directly talk about money and how you can save it by getting dirty instead of taking your car or whatever. I've showed you how to do plumbing yourself. I've showed people how to do brake work themselves, various repairs around the house, and I wish more people would watch those videos. They haven't been very big hits, but I felt it was my way of giving back to the community to show people how easy it is to not have to call a plumber at 2 o'clock in the morning and pay big bucks for it, but to go ahead and just fix it yourself, man. Anybody can do it. I don't care if you're a man or a woman or disabled. Chances are, with a little bit of effort, you can fix it yourself. So I appreciate that people have rolled into this channel for various reasons and stuck around for various other ones. And I urge you all to spread out and think outside the box when it comes to stuff. The next time you have a problem, before you call somebody, watch a video on YouTube and see, hey, maybe it's something I can do myself. So, things to think about. Vegan driver saying I would drive up there and get that $50 mutt right now. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, if I'm ever done with it, I'll be sure to let the community know. And first one to get up here gets it. Josh Levin said, I grab push mowers and riding mowers and weed trimmers and leaf blowers and chainsaws for free on the side of the roads at yard sales, bringing my grandfather's in Bear, Vermont, and he fixes them. Yeah, look, that's entrepreneurship. That's what that is. That's what this channel is, really. Think about this. This is a second job for me. It may not be a very productive one, but it is. And I also feel that way in life. We talked about that, I think, in my first video that I put up on here that was live, that it's good to have your irons in more than one pot. Okay, so be what you want to be. If you want to be a mechanic or a doctor or whatever, a truck driver, you want to be whatever you want to be that. Construction worker, whatever. White collar, blue collar, it doesn't matter. But be more than that. Go out there and be something else. You don't have to be successful. That's what your career is, okay? Your main job is your main job. But you can have that as a safety net and go off and do other things. I'm a mechanic, right? But I flip cars. I restore cars. I flip cars. That's a second job. I started a YouTube channel and I make money on it. That's a third job. I buy and sell lawnmowers and repair things like that. That's a fourth job. I have a bunch of jobs. So if something goes wrong, then I've got stuff to fall back on. My mechanic position no longer becomes my sole source of income. And if it fails, I no longer fall to the floor because I have 2 or 3 other things going on, none of them making me rich, but things that make me live a more comfortable life. And it allows me to spend more time on me doing the things that I want to do at my own pace than having to work for X, Y, or Z. So I like to stress that to people. I wish more people would do that. That's the entrepreneurship and the American way that used to be much more popular and has kind of faded out. And I think it needs to make a comeback. Josh sells those for extra money. Yeah, exactly what I'm talking about, man. Mark Bubb, good evening from upstate New York. Congratulations on 10,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. I hope you are one of them. Mark, I think I've said this before earlier today, but I have an aunt that lives up in upstate New York, Manlius, New York. So I've been up there. It's a beautiful part of the world. And I do appreciate everyone who is a subscriber here and everyone who has helped support the channel and watched my videos and hopefully taken something and gotten something good out of that. So I do appreciate all of you. Justin from Vermont is saying that he's made some good money fixing free mowers and selling them. I am YouTube certified. I want one of those patches so bad. I'm an ASC Master Tech. I'm actually L1 certified, and we kid around about that at work because, depending on who you talk to, it either means a lot or not a whole lot. But I think the YouTube certified mechanic patch is probably really cool. So I think I'd like that. Mike Miller, hello from Southwest LA. Is that what that is? Or Louisiana? I'm not sure. I'm sorry. But Mike, hello, my friend. Yeah, this is Mafia Dollar. I'm a diesel mechanic who still uses YouTube from time to time at work. I think we all do, man. I've been doing this for like 27 years, 26 years, and there's still stuff that stumps you. You can't know everything. If you think you know everything, you probably don't know much. You know what I mean? If we don't reference information every once in a while, we're likely to find ourselves in deep doo-doo. I'm quick to verify a thought if I can, and I'm quick to share a thought if I have one that's worthwhile. Blazing Spike says, what other mobile CB radios have you had? Man, I've got so many I can't even count them. Yeah, the Unity Grant LT was mounted in a car before, and then it became my base station. The 980 I have now. In the cars right now, I have two Cobra 18 WXST2s, whatever the heck they are. I did a review of those a while back. One of them just broke, so the President Andy is going to be going in that one. And I have the Cobra 70 one-hander, which is due to be replaced with that Cobra 75, I think it is, that I did a video on not too long ago. That's going to get swapped out. It's been a busy spring. And then over the years, my gosh, too many to remember. A lot of Radio Shack, the TRC 503, lots. Jason Kane saying, Eric, technically you could say you are a prepper survival channel. Tons of good information from canning to, I'm not going to suck your wing. Maybe not spam sandwiches, huh? Hey, man, if you ain't eating spam sandwiches every once in a while, you're not American. This is America. You don't like it, you can get out. Thank you. In a way, it is. I think homesteading is not a dirty word, and I think prepping or survivalism is a dirty word. The fact is, most of the time, they're the same thing. I don't know. Maybe a survivalist just stockpiles more than a homesteader prepares more, but I don't know. I think all three are interchangeable to a certain extent, to most extent. I think they have, if you say the dude's a survivalist, you immediately think of Rambo with a bunch of, long guns and stuff like that. If you say survivalist or prepper, that's, prepper, you think of stockpiling, and homesteader, you think of living off grid and that kind of thing. I think I do all three of those things. So I'm everything. You can pigeonhole me any way you want, brother. Jordan is saying, I work in IT on the side, and I buy stuff in thrift stores and resell it on eBay. I do too. You'll notice a lot of my videos, I go into flea markets and finding these great things. I do that. Old computers, video games, obviously ham radio, CB radio equipment, old vehicles, you name it, man. Jack of all trades, and just the ability to go out and generate income any way you see fit. If you have a hobby, I guarantee you there's a way you can turn that hobby into money. You just have to figure out a way. G-Wall, any advice for someone who wants to leave the suburbs for country life? Yep, do it. Do it soon. Don't wait. I'm in my late 40s now, and I wish that I had jumped on this earlier. My wife and I dreamed about it in our 30s, talked about it in our 30s. We planned for it in our 30s, but we never did anything. And then one day I woke up and like midlife crisis, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but blew a fuse. I was at the top of my game in the automotive field back in the city that I lived in, making huge money, and just blew a fuse. It was done. Middle of the day, just decided that's it. I'm done. Called my wife at lunch and said, it's time. Let's do this. And I did it. And you know what, man? Anxiety, panic attacks, freaking out, all that stuff. It's all normal. When you change everything about your life, if you don't freak out, then I want to meet you, man. You're probably a pretty cool guy. But I know for me, huge life-changing thing to go from where you live forever and to do that. But do it, man. Do it. Follow your dreams, make your dreams a reality, and then make those realities work for you. Don't let failure get in the way of success. You're going to fail. You're going to suck at something. I do. I suck at everything. But I'm still pulling it off, so do it. That's my advice, man. Do it. Josh is asking, yeah, man, I work with folks with developmental disabilities for a main job. God bless you. That's tough. That's a tough business to get into. That would weigh so heavily on my heart. It would hurt. Pawpaw's Hobby Homestead. Hey, everybody from NC. Pawpaw, where are you located in NC? I don't know if we've talked before, but welcome to the channel if we haven't. And always good to have another homesteader on here. Oh man, I'm missing so much stuff here. Ricky Powers is talking about adding giant stacks to his lawnmower from a 150. Jason Kane saying a Kubota makes farming easy. Yeah, it does. I will admit that as far as digging goes, I haven't had to get the shovel out half as much. Justin saying he's got 980 on his wish list. I think that's a good wish list. Jason saying I love spam, bro, but blood pressure and after mass consumption. Yeah, I've been warned. Actually, I'm on medicine for that, but man, I still love a spam sandwich. A little bit of onion. Well, you saw my video. If you don't have that with a bowl of soup at least once a month in the wintertime, it's just like your body goes through withdrawals or something. Josh is saying he sells stuff on eBay and uses that to make extra cash. Yeah, so Josh, that's exactly what I do. I buy these things, I play with them, I fix them up, I enjoy them for a while, and then I sell them. And that's yeah. I've had an eBay account since the internet was born, pretty much, and I've made probably, and I'm not joking, over the last since 1999, let's say, probably $20,000 on that. Now that doesn't seem like a lot to a lot of people, but supplemental income, if you have it from multiple sources, it adds up. Justin from Vermont's asking you, do I have any livestock? Oh, certainly. I don't know if I guess you guys haven't seen some of those videos, but I have chickens. I have rabbits. I have a goat, although we're getting ready to eat them. And I have turkeys. And that is what I have right now. Yeah. I thought about getting pigs, but it looks like it's not going to happen this year. We eat chickens. We eat their eggs. We eat rabbits. We raise them. And the goat was raised for meat. Morgan Russman, do you have any plans for what you're going to do for 100,000 or 1 million subscribers on YouTube? Or are you not going to do anything? Well, if I can get out of my wheelchair at the old folks' home when I hit 100,000 subscribers, I'll be sure to go live. How's that sound? It'll probably be holographic by that point, but I'll go to live holographic and we'll have a 40-year reunion. Blazing Spike says he missed being off grid. My grandparents always canned food and stockpiled. Never had to go without food. If you've seen my video on my food storage, I probably have, conservatively a year's worth of food. Out of that, about 50% of it is stuff that I canned myself. The rest is, store bought, and we rotate that stock. So yeah, it's nice. It's comfort. It's like having a savings account. So I love that. Those that have never failed have never tried anything. Adam, it's well said. It's true. You can play it safe, and I'm guilty of doing that at times in my life, and live a happy life usually, or live a maybe a mundane but decent life. But you got to get out there. You got to push yourself outside your comfort zone and see what you can do. And if you take your career and you hang on to it and do those things, you will feel the pressure not so heavily on yourself. If you quit everything and say, that's it, all right, I'm going to start that rock band I've always wanted to have, man. Well, yeah, that you might be up for some disappointment in life, but if you stay working in IT and you start a rock band and you work at that rock band, it takes pressure off of your dream, and you actually end up doing better at your dream because you don't have the pressure of forcing yourself to succeed. You let it come naturally. Let's see. Oh, outside of Fort Bragg. Oh, wow. Well, I lived down that way for many years, not at Bragg, although I was stationed at Bragg for a while when I was younger. Hot, tough place. Balas Espanol. I don't know Spanish, my friend, but welcome to the channel. $20,000 is amazing, man. I feel like it is. I feel like it's a huge thing. In fact, they contacted me about 3 years ago getting Social Security information for the IRS. And annually, I usually only sell $3,000 or $4,000 a year at most. Most years, it's maybe $2,000. So I had a big old fit. But they said once you reach a certain threshold, they have to report your income to the IRS, even though you're not responsible for claiming it or paying money on it. So that was give you an idea of the kind of income I was getting off of eBay. Pigs equal barbecue. Yeah, Marshall, they do. I'd like to get pigs. It just didn't work out this year. The garage project just went way over time. Mafia Dollar's asking me, do you love sweet tea like everyone else in North Carolina? I don't, man. I don't. I drink hot tea in the winter. I don't drink iced tea. I drink water. I don't drink soda. I drink water. I'm weird. And that's not like I'm a health food junkie or anything. I'm a big fatty. But I just don't. Sugar, too much sugar or even fake sugar is probably not that good for you. So I prefer water. I have natural springs here on the property, so that water is just beautiful, fresh, cold water. So I love it. Mike Miller has a 1938 Farmall Cub. Boy, I'd love to see a picture of that, Mike. Maybe you could send me some photos or put a video on your page. I'd love to see it. Ed saying, hello from Illinois. I have an old Cobra base station with SSB. Love your channel. Keep up the good information. Ed, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. And Cobra base station is probably some of the best base stations out there back in the day. I know I was jealous. I had a unit in Washington, and for some reason, I always felt like the 142 Cobras were better. Turns out they're pretty much identical inside. I think the difference was, so 142 have two dials, two meters instead of one, where the Washington only had 1 meter. I don't know, whatever it was. Back when I was young, it's all a you-know-what measuring contest, and I felt like mine wasn't big enough. Justin from Vermont is saying, I am taking the homesteading plunge, moving in less than a month, going from a half acre to 5, thinking about doing chickens and buying a bigger tractor. Justin, congratulations. Good luck. You can feel free to reference my videos on the subject, or if you want to contact me about a specific question, go for it. 5 acres is perfect for homesteading for a family. You can feed yourself many times over on that much land. Day one, go and buy some fruit trees, apples, pears, peaches, plums, whatever grows well in your climate. Buy them, buy a bunch more than you think you need, and plant them. Because the best time to plant a fruit tree is 10 years ago, and you're going to lose some. So I planted 10 the first year I was up here, lost 4 of them to blight, and I planted another 25. And, every year they get a little bigger, and every year I get a little more fruit and vegetables and stuff like that out of the farms. But that's biggest advice for a new homesteader. Jason Kane salutes Pawpaw and Eric. UMC 030. Oh, there you go. No combat. Hey, so I'm broke like the rest of my brothers and sisters pre-2000. In sadness. Jason, nothing to be ashamed, man. Marine Corps, you guys are crazy anyway. I'm just regular Army. I've been out of it long enough that, as you can see with the gray here, I've been out a long time. So I appreciate everyone's service, and, we did what we had to do. So. Justin from Vermont, my advice, plant your fruit. Yeah, Pawpaw's like running the same page as me, huh? Yeah, plant those trees. Wow. Scout salute from that. Plant blueberries and asparagus too. Yeah, blueberries do really well up here in the mountains. And we have, I planted 8 the first year, and I planted a different variety that doesn't grow as tall. They're like short bushes. Planted another 8 of those last year, and all of them did really well this year. We got, I think, 2 or 3 gallons of blueberries. John is asking, have you been on the radio? I did earlier. I made contact with somebody in Wisconsin. I can key up. You guys, I'll give you, why don't we wait? You want to turn on your radios, channel 38 lower sideband, and I'll be happy to give it another shot if you guys want to try that. You let me know. Scout Sniper. Is that what you were at, my friend? Or the Marines, man. Thin, rocky soil. Well, where I live is very rocky soil. It's also very sandy. But, trees grow well. I've had good luck up here with green beans. And green beans, if you can get them established, for the season, you can get a lot of green beans out of a couple seeds. So, green beans. Tomatoes always tricky, but if you can get tomatoes and green peppers growing, I usually do those in raised beds with a lot of extra nutrients. Excuse me. Yeah, the 142 has 2 separate meters, Ed is saying. Yeah, so that's the one I lusted after, even though internally I believe those 2 radios are pretty much the same. Pawpaw, your Army retired as well. Were you at Bragg as well? I was at Bragg. What year was I there? I think it was 94. I was at Bragg for the year. I grew up mostly around Army vets and a few Marines. Yeah. Adam, my father was a drill sergeant. So my grandfather was also a Army lieutenant. So that's just a way of life, I guess. Jason Kane saying we are a family, one and all. We are all a family. And I think there's that bond, no matter what branch you served in or what era you served in, or whether you saw combat or didn't see combat. It doesn't matter. We're all green. Weren't we told that in basic training? We're all green on the inside. No white, no black, no yellow, just all green. Mr. Flores is saying hello from Mississippi. Hello, Mississippi. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to give it a shot on the radio. Everyone's got their radio on. Let's see what we got here. This is it. CQDX. This is Farpoint Farm 707. I repeat, Farpoint Farm 707 in the mountains of North Carolina. Trying for a break. CQDX. This is Farpoint Farm 707. Farpoint Farm 707 in the mountains of North Carolina. Trying for a break. I don't know if y'all hearing me. Oh, you getting it. Yeah, not hearing anybody back tonight. Paw, you were stationed there twice? Cool, man. Interesting place to be. I never enjoyed the area around Fort Bragg, but what was the other base down that way? South Carolina. Columbia, that area there was way more fun to hang out outside of base, if you know what I mean. Fort Jackson. I just never, I don't know. Fort Bragg never grew on me. Yeah, I'm going to turn this back down. It looks like Skip's not rolling right now. Let me take a sip of something. I got a frog in my throat. Man, we've already been at this almost an hour and a half. It's amazing how much time you can kill with friends, right? Oh, you got that wildfire over there, Jason? Blazing Spike has family. He's retired in every military branch. That's big news. Yeah, it was rolling here a little while ago when I made that contact earlier. Maybe I should have kept playing, but I guess I just didn't. I don't know. I think tonight, guys. Maybe we'll wrap this up at the 1.5 hour mark. So we'll go another 10 minutes or so, unless you just want to. Yeah, I got a frog in my throat. All right. Unless you guys want to go longer than that, I can do that too. But it's been a long week, and it ain't over yet. What else people want to chat about this evening? Wow. Another video I was going to make, and I don't know if you guys are interested in it, regarding homesteading, is water supplies. Most people who have wells or are on city. I'm on a spring-fed water system, and I have streams on the property. And I thought about covering just how important and how vital water is if you're thinking about becoming a homesteader. But I didn't know if that was something that was redundant, if there were enough people that had videos covering that sort of stuff. But again, going back to that 1 second after book, the thought of water and the lack of clean, fresh water is a huge issue in a grid down event. Oh man, sounds good. That's take care, man. Papa's Homestead. Any tips on getting to 10,000? Keep going, Papa. Just don't stop. Don't get discouraged. You know how your little analytics chart does this and does this. Just ignore it. Just keep going. Don't quit. Keep making videos, and eventually you'll have so many of them that people start. You'll have a new subscriber, that single subscriber, and he'll come in and he'll watch one of your videos and he'll be like, "Wow, this is kind of cool," and look at this. He's got a whole bunch of other videos, and some of the stuff will interest him, and some of it won't. But if there's no videos up there, or there's only 12 videos up there, or there's only 25 videos up there, the odds of them finding another video that they find interesting diminishes. So, I'm not a, I don't have a million viewers. So that's my advice. It seems to be working for me. I keep cranking them out. I'd like to put out 3 a week. It's not happening lately. I've been doing 2 a week. And to be honest with you, there might be a month or 2 coming up here where it's just 1 a week. And I always try to do them on the weekends because it does tend to get better viewership on the weekends. But Okay, so good subject. The water is a good subject, I'm being told. I'll make something on that. I've got a stream just outside this wall here that I use stream, probably 4 or 5 gallons a minute that rolls past it. But it's a spring head up at the top of my property that rolls down, comes right alongside this property. Could be diverted. One of the plans I'm going to use with the Kubota is to make a pond out of up there, so that'll have a freshwater pond. Maybe I can have fish up there or whatnot. Pond brings life to the area, and I like the idea of having wildlife in the area. So, other video that I was thinking about making was related to energy, off-grid energy. I am by no means an expert, but I have a coworker that is, and he's completely off-grid, and I've been picking his brain. And I have some projects here on the property. I have a solar panel set up, stuff like that. Not enough to go completely off-grid, but just a topic to talk about, to broach why you would want to get into it. So that's something else I've been thinking about doing. Howie's saying, great videos, great information. Keep it up. Former radio man, submarine service here. Wow, man, you were on a submarine. Howie, I'm going to imagine probably if you're watching my videos, you were in the nuclear age, right? And not on a diesel sub. But I've been on a few subs, museum subs, and bro, I respect you. That has got to be one heck of a tough job. But awesome all the time. Talk about rolling power, man. Wonderful. 741 is saying, I agree. Keep on going. He's been at it 9 years and only have 5K subs, but I do this for fun. That's the other part of it, Papa. Sometimes, but rarely, do I go and make a video for the sake of making the video. Okay. Most of the time when I make a video, I'm doing something I got to do anyway. So, like the tower, I'm doing that anyway. I was going to make that video anyway. I was going to build that thing anyway. So why not take the time, grab the camera, and make a few videos while I'm doing it, and hopefully people get something interesting. The Yugo, I was going to restore that car anyway, so I made a few videos. They weren't turned out. It wasn't very popular, but it doesn't matter. It's video, and there's people out there, especially overseas, who really appreciated that. So, the videos that I make that aren't about that stuff are videos generally where I'm trying to just share information with people. It's my way of just giving back to the community, my way of trying to help other people out. So I think that's it. I'm not gonna go buy a product or buy something that I'm never going to use and have no interest in, and try to make a video out of it just because it's popular at the time. That's just not how I roll. So there's a little bit more advice for you, I guess. Josh wants to know if I have any kids. Keep wondering. Eric, are you into ham radio? Yes, I am. I was very into ham radio. Then I got completely out of it when I moved up here to begin this new phase of my life. And now I'm slowly getting back into it. I have a 2-meter radio. I might be getting a 10-meter radio and a 12-meter radio very shortly. So yes, I am. I'm trying to get back into it. My license expired. I thought I had renewed it. I don't know what happened there, but my information doesn't even show up on the database anymore, which isn't a bad thing because I kind of hated that part of being a ham radio operator in the first place. Blazing Spike saying spring water is the best water for drinking, made right out of the mountain, filtered by a giant mountain, no filters in the house, no additives, no chlorine, no nothing, man, just water. I can literally take a glass, and I have, and drink it right out of the side of the mountain. I've taken showers. When we lose power, I can go down to the spring or up to the other spring and grab a bucket and take a cold shower. Boy, whew. It's cold, but it's good, and it's fresh, it's clean, and it's, yeah, no doubt way better for you than anything you're going to buy at a store or drink out of the city tap. Vegan driver, I'm building a tiny house and plan to eventually go off grid. Power is another great subject. Great, I'll do something on that. Tiny homes are a great subject too. Again, if I considered, and this was a big thing that was my wife and I talked about in the spring, didn't happen because of some life changes, but I have a lower piece of property, and the tiny home thing is interesting to me. I have a friend who lives in a shipping container, and he lives off grid, and he's converted a shipping container into his tiny home. I didn't want to go that route because of legality issues, but I had considered taking a old, like, 70s or early 80s single wide mobile home, which you can get for free, and pay a grand or two to have it moved up to a piece of property that I have. And I was going to take that, and then I was going to spend the whole year and gut the thing on the inside and on the outside and the roof. I mean, bring it down to the frame basically, and rebuild it as a beautiful high-end, tiny home or a small home. Showing again like what recycling can do. So you take something you get for nothing, you put sweat labor, sweat equity into it, you end up with a nice finished product. And then I was going to use that as a rental property because I live in a kind of a resort area or a vacation area, and both in the winter and the summertime, it would be a great cabin that I could rent out. And when I was done, it was going to have fake or not fake, but that looks like log cabin siding, and a green tin roof. So I was going to give it that ambiance to it, and it may still happen, but it did not happen this year, and it looks like next year it's not going to happen either the way things are going. But that's a plan for me, and yeah, I keep just Howie's saying you were on nuclear attack boats and diesel electric. My gosh, wow. Well, again, props to you, my friend. That's I've been on a World War II sub that was stationed, let's see, where was that? Down in South Carolina, they had one there next to the aircraft carrier. And I also, when I lived out in Oregon, went on the Nautilus, which I think was the world's first nuclear-powered sub. I don't remember if that was the last diesel or the first nuclear, but I know they used it for some movies, and it's a little bigger than those World War II subs, but still, not. I'm sure they're nothing, neither of those are like a modern sub, but just the feeling inside of that and the that close quarters all the time, man. I'm good for you. That's got to have been a tough situation. Marshall's asking, do I have trouble with wildlife damage in the garden? Yes, I have trouble with raccoons all the time. I try not to kill anything I don't eat. So as a result, I have a lot of raccoons, and I do occasionally use have a heart traps and go drive them a couple of miles down the road and drop them off. I don't know how well that works, if they just walk back or what, but as far as deer, I have found a product that works perfectly to keep deer out of the garden, and it's all natural. It's also fertilizer. It's called Milorganite. It's disgusting, but what it is it is a fertilizer that is made out of desiccated human waste that comes from a city municipal system. So after a big sewage system runs through and dries, and does all the processing to create water that's clean again, they have that byproduct. They take that, they dry it out, and it becomes a safe product to put on gardens. Deer, which have really good sense of smell the human waste, and they go, I don't want to be anywhere near that. There's obviously people living around there. Works like a charm. Also, is great fertilizer. So it's win-win. It's also not expensive. So that's what I use, and it works very, very well. Wow, I've missed a bunch of stuff, haven't I? Sorry, I'm late, Archie. Well, good to see you here. Pawpaw, yeah, everyone go to Pawpaws. If we can help each other out, let's do that. Adam saying that Yugo needs some more mag wheels, big wing spoiler. Yeah, right back in 1994, right there. Eric D saying, awesome, thanks for sharing. Pawpaw's Homestead saying, I finally got my sawmill put together, and I can't wait to start sawing lumber. The rainy weather is crazy this summer. Pawpaw, is that one of those like ones where you use your chainsaw and it's like a big setup? I'd be interested in watching a video on that. I have been to your site, but I haven't been to it lately. I don't know if you got a video on there, but I'd be interested in seeing that, because that was something we considered investing in when we first moved up here. 741 is saying, most of my videos here document just what I'm doing around the house. I still think it's crazy that anyone follows me, let alone 5,000 people. It is crazy to think that people connect with you on a level like that, isn't it? Archie, CQ, this is Blue Magic. Southern Wisconsin. Man, I talked to somebody, Archie, in Wisconsin earlier. We could have made contact, but it's all dropped out now. That's too bad. Jason Kane, Eric going Primal Commando, Blue Balls Waterfall. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how it was. And I was Commando. One of the joys of living in the middle of nowhere is being able to wander your property buck naked if you choose to. And I choose to just because I can. There'll be a time in my life, obviously, when that'll no longer be possible. But at least I got to have the experience, and it was fun. Blazing Spike, do you eat wild game meats? Of course I do. I hate killing things, but I am a farmer and a homesteader, and yes, I do hunt. I kill a deer or sometimes two a year, and I eat every darn bit of it. You should see my wife and I sitting out here in the garage in very cold weather, working every bit of that meat off the bones. But we make sure that that deer gets used well. Sorry for the weird question. We are having our second. Josh, not a weird question. I just, there's certain things, I don't want to get too personal as far as life goes. You hear horror stories on the internet. So certain things I don't want to talk about. That'd be one of them. No big deal, brother. Live, cool. Watching from upstate South Carolina. Good to see you, man. Have a good choice. All right, brother. Jason Kane, there are issues with wells, and yeah. Wells, the issue with wells in the case of a grid down event or an EMP or something like that, or even in regular life, let's say you're broke. Okay. I've been broke a lot in my life. Let's say you are just broke and your well pump goes out. You don't have water. You're doomed. You can pull the pump out, but you got to have to go through the process of trying to create, and there's ways to do it. A small pipe, but even that's going to cost you $20 or $30 and some rope to drop this thing down and to get, a little bit of water out per pool. So even a well has its disadvantages, and no water supply setup is perfect. But I have found that the spring box and the spring setup that I have is probably, it requires no power. It just pours out of the wall, and so that's why I've kind of thought about making a video related to that. A bandsaw mill. Okay, cool. So it's a real mill. So I look forward to seeing a video on that. I'll definitely check that out. David Frazier, how are you, my man? I haven't seen you in here tonight. I appreciate you stopping by. Canning and curing meat would be a good video subject. Well, as far as curing, we have just a regular old dehydrator, and we dehydrate and make like deer jerky and stuff like that. I don't dehydrate the chicken so much, but we certainly can chicken. I thought I made a video on that already. I think I did make a meat canning video when I had killed a bunch of chickens. I had already processed the chickens because I knew YouTube would not want that kind of material on the web as far as the dispatching of animals. But I had already processed all the meat, and I do think I already made a video on the curing of that. So you'll have to check the backlog. I've got so much stuff out there; it's hard to keep track. But there's over 200 videos now. It's pretty crazy. Let's see. That's the great thing about the mountains. You can always get water from a spring box. Plenty of places. You just need to be creative. It's true. My property is like 1/10 shy of 6 acres, and on that single piece of property, which isn't a spectacular piece of property, there are 3 known springs that water comes out of all year long. So one of them has been developed into we have a big concrete box. The water flows into that box, and then that water is then pumped up the hill to the house. If there were no power and I wanted that water to come off the house, I could easily pull out the well pump, make one minor adjustment to the hoses, and use what's called a ram pump, which is a naturally pumping device that uses the wastewater that flows out of that spring head as energy. If you've never seen I'm not going to try to describe it without showing a video of it, but if you've never seen a ram pump, you can go Google that when we're done here tonight. So that's something you might want to look into. And then the other 2 are above the top of the property and the mountain coming down. And those 2, like I said, one I'd like to develop into a pond. The other one comes down and feeds or waters the animals in the side of my property where the animals are. So free, clear flowing water for the animals. No need to be replaced. So yes, that's, again, if you're considering homesteading, spend the time and think about where you want to live, what assets the property have, what negatives. One thing I will say, and this is very prepper survivalist of me, is that when I made the choice to buy homesteading property, I also looked at a place that was outside of a 50-mile range of any known nuclear reactors. This was, right after Fukushima had occurred, and looking at the damage and the not the kill zone, but the no-go zone, I realized that it would be really good of me for multiple reasons, both for conventional issues or non-conventional issues with the nuclear reactor that could cause a meltdown, that I wanted to make sure that I was outside of that area. So I live in an area which I call the fishbowl that is without a reactor within that range. And if you're looking at homesteading, if possible, that'd be something I would consider. You can get pigs in a smokehouse must come back. My wife, Marshall, has been begging me to build a smokehouse here since we moved up here. And I've got the block to do it. It's as I say, on the list. So many things are on the list, and a smokehouse is on the list. So I'd like to do that someday. Blazing Spike's talking about well fed and how well pumps go out. They do. They go, if it's an area that gets a lot of rain washout and you get a lot of kicked up stuff, it can go out every 5 years. It might last 20. But chances are when they go out, they're going to go out at the worst possible time. And so that's it. Jason K and Eric, maybe next live, touchy, but very American topic. Home defense, side long arms, maybe too touchy for YouTube. I'm not sure. We get loads of MRI. Yeah. So, Jason, I want to do those videos. I've wanted to do those videos since this channel was founded. If you go way back, y'all get a kick out of this. Go way, way, way back to my very first video that I uploaded here. It was on an 8mm camcorder that had to be digitally converted. At the very end of that video, which is I think about a welder, I refer to myself as Survivalist Joe, because that was the original idea behind this channel, was that I was going to do a survivalist prepping homesteading type channel. And then even back then, I saw what they were doing to people who talked about those kind of subjects. And so I changed my mind and decided not to do videos related to firearms. And I mean, I could make thousands of videos related to that, but we know what's happening to free speech in this country. And so I chose not to. At some point on that BitChute and on Steemit and on all these other sites that are now cropping up that are embracing free speech, at least temporarily, I may choose to do those videos. I have a lot of information that I can share from my time in the Army, a lot of information that I can share about those subjects, but self-censorship. And we'll leave it at that, my friend. Mafia Dollar, does anyone have some Grey Poupon? Would you please pass the Grey Poupon? Boy, that's old school now. I bet you half of the people they don't even know what that is. Josh Levin, is it easy to post a video up here on YouTube? I've never done it before. Super easy. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube account. If you have a YouTube account, there is a button that says one of three things: go live, schedule a live event, or upload a video. And it is that simple. Just click upload a video. It'll take you to a page. It'll pick a video file off of your computer. You enter in the information that you want to enter in, and voila, you are now a content creator. Congratulations. Super easy, man. Trust me, if my old self can do it, you can do it. William Hewitt, what is your preferred way of taking game when you hunt? Archery, muzzleloader, centerfire? I use a Marlin Model 336 lever action 30-30 carbine and iron sights. And I am very lazy. Hunting is not a sport for me. It is not something that interests me. I actually loathe it because of experiences earlier in life with killing. So I'm very lazy. I take one shot, one kill. And so every year I take that gun out of the closet or out of the safe actually, and fire 3 rounds at a target, make sure I remember where it shoots, and then I put one right through the heart of something, and that is it. So let's see what else we got here. Act by choice. You ever use a spring box to keep food chilled? You certainly can. Boy, it's like 55 degrees. So in the event of a grid down or a power outage long term, certainly could. You drop that into the well box there and you'd be all set. 40 degrees, yeah. That's it. Like it stays at a certain temperature. Ours is right around 50. The water coming out of the well is right around 50, or the spring is right around 50. So you are a brother and a warrior. Yeah. Jason, man, someday, hopefully things will turn around in this world, but I'm sure that you know what's going on. So it's not getting better. It's getting worse, and it's about to get a whole lot worse. Let's be honest. We're getting ready to have big problems with that. So, but the next thing that comes along will hopefully be better. And I would love to explore those avenues. I'd love to be something more than what I've been. Self-censorship is almost worse than censorship. And it constricts me every time I put a video up. But that's the world we're living in, my friend. Can you put videos up just using the YouTube app? I don't know. I don't use my cell phone for this stuff. I hate cell phones. But I imagine you probably can do it just as easily. Marshall Blythe, please make some videos of your cats. YouTube possibly can't object to that. I would love to, Marshall. It's kind of sad, but I actually lost a cat this week. very suddenly, which was just a real shame. The white cat that you saw in one of my tractor repair videos a couple years ago, the big white one, Turkish Angora, good cat, Henry Longtail, but he's no longer with us. I had to put him down this week unexpectedly. But I do love my cats. I am a big softy at heart when it comes to animals in general. I'm a homesteader, and we all know that includes, having to kill animals and eat them. Doesn't mean I have to like it. If I could, I'd probably have, instead of eating them, I'd have them as pets. But that's not the world we live in. It's not the way the chain works. So, not sure if you missed the video or have you made one of that tower video will be up tomorrow morning. You can watch the final video on it, and I hope you all like it. Jason saying true, it is. It is, my friend. It is. Papa's Homestead. Oh yeah, the Marlin 3030. Yeah, man. Marlin. It's it's just old school. I've got a bunch of different variety of those type of things, but that's the one I use. Marshall says, "Sorry, man. I know how that feels. Yeah, it sucks. You love them like kids. I do. I'm not afraid. A lot of guys have tattoos everywhere, bald head or whatever, and they think they're tougher than nails. But not me, bud. I'm willing to be a man and still have feelings. So it hurts. I ain't afraid to admit it. Josh is telling you he has a 30-30. Great gun. You used the 30-30 for home defense. I'll bet you that ended in your favor. I can imagine the sound of that rack and probably ran somebody off. If you needed to use it, I'll bet you it'd finish the job too. Winter of 93. Wow. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm not talking. I'm trying to read and catch up, and I forgot to bring my glasses out. Marshall is saying he lost 2 this last year, but 4 more showed up, mom and 3 kittens. Man, I wish, I mean, like, they talk about the crazy cat people. I honestly, I wish I could have 10. I'm not going to lie. I do. I think they're hilarious. It's hard to be in a bad mood around a cat. Even if the cat is a jerk, the fact that it is a jerk is funny. Like, you can't lose with a cat. If they're cute and cuddly and they want to be around you all the time, well, you feel like you're adored like you would be with a dog. If they hate you and they ignore you and they give you stink eye all the time, it's almost as fun. It's just, they're great animals. We have 2 right now still, and I'll tell you what, I think sometime this fall, I know the family will enjoy this, I'm probably going to go get 2 more. I like them that much. And I think having 4 cats makes you officially a cat a crazy cat person, but whatever. I'm cool with that. David Frazier, the canning video, nothing like eating chicken, you raise yourself. Yeah, and you know what, man? I don't know if I mentioned this in the canning video, but can your own chicken. I don't know if you ever bought canned chicken, like the little, they're big, like twice the size of a tuna fish can. But those are good for making like chicken salad sandwiches and stuff. That's the consistency and what it's going to be like when you get it out of those cans. You want to talk about a quick, easy meal? You go out and you get your jar, you open it up, you drain the water off, you pour the chicken into a thing, you can smash it up with a fork. You don't even need to do anything to it. It turns into finely shredded. You put some mayonnaise and onions and stuff in there, and you can make a great sandwich. You want it hot? If you put a little barbecue sauce in there, heat it up in the microwave, put it on a bun, you've got a chicken barbecued sandwich. You can make chicken fajitas. You can make all this stuff out of it in like 4 seconds. So you're spending a bunch of time canning it up front and processing it. But when it comes out of that can, dinner's on in like 5 minutes, man. And I love that. So. General Lee. Hey, Eric, my car's timing chain broke. How much do you think I'm looking at to have it fixed? What kind of car is it again, General Lee? Timing chain in general, if it's a V8 and it's not an exotic car, $500 to $700 in my area. But, labor rates are different in a lot of parts of the world or in the country. So there's some differences there. Also make and model. So you don't have cats. Cats have you. Agreed. Deacon Driver, we currently have 5 in our household, and we have had as many as 10. Hey, you know what? Good. Guys, you're cheering me up tonight. I'm glad to hear that men are not afraid to talk about having pets and liking them. So that's cool, man. Appreciate that. William Hewlett, 54 patch round ball on top of 70 grain. I would love to get into black powder as a hobby. I have not had the opportunity to do it. I came real close to getting like a Davy Crockett kit, like one of those ones that's old school, not a modern black powder, but a old school one. Matter of fact, it was even flintlock, but I didn't, and I haven't come across one that really tickled me like that in a long time for a reasonable price. That's probably what's kept me out of it. Bobby Scott saying he ended up with a couple of dogs. Dogs are great too. My life and my wife, and just the way we are right now, we can't take care of a dog unless it was an outside dog. Cat you can leave in the house all day. A dog, with the amount of time I'm outside working and all the other stuff, I feel like that wouldn't be fair. A dog needs more attention. I don't feel like I can give that dog that kind of attention unless it was a constantly outside dog. And that's a disagreement my wife and I have about dogs. She wants a dog to be an indoor dog. I would love to have a dog as a work dog or a security dog on the property, but because of that conflict there, we just stick with cats, and I'm cool with that. We can't let the cats out here. There's too many predators, coyotes, and other things that eat cats, unfortunately. But that's okay. I love having them in the house. Josh, man, take care. It was good talking with you. We're dropping down. We're dwindling. We have like 14 people left here. And, I said I was going to cut it off in an hour and a half, but we're almost at 2 hours. I am going to cut it off at 2 hours, but I'm enjoying talking with everyone. Canned moose, good. Yeah. Like roast beef. Yeah. And canned meat, any kind of canned meat kind of comes apart like real nice and soft. You can make fajitas and sandwiches. And thank you, Archie. Henry Longtail is gone. Yep. He was a good boy. Pawpaw got 10 ducklings and 13 adult ducks. I would love to get ducks, but we've had problems with predators. Chickens take themselves home at night. Ducks don't seem to do that. He's got 4 chihuahuas in a home. It's almost like a cat. Yeah, they're small little critters, but don't chihuahuas have to go out like 2 or 3 times a day to go pee? My buddy had one back when I lived in town, and I could have swore we had to go home at lunch every day just so he could take it out so it would go pee, so it wouldn't pee in the house. Andrew Flores, what is the favorite CB radio you have owned? Currently, it's the one that's blowing static right behind me. The Uniden 980 SSB has been a really nice new radio. I love all the features it has. I love all the functions it has, and I love the fact that it talks well. I've talked all over the world. I've talked to Italy, talked to Australia, Canada. If I knew how to speak Spanish, I could have spoke probably half of the South America. And again, with far Europe, because I've heard some, Russians and just stuff like that. So I would have talked with all those people. But I'm very happy with that. Blazing Spike says, I've had so many pets, I've lost my favorite teacup miniature pincher. That's where part of my YouTube name came from. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. I always like those little wiener dogs. Is that what a pincher is? What's the hot dog looking dogs? Apparently they're really like mean and don't want to cooperate, but they're just hilarious to look at. So it'd be fun. The 148 is also an awesome radio. Like when you look generationally, you look at the 148 and the Uniden Grants, and you say those were the great radios of their time. But right now, I'm looking at the President Lincoln and the Uniden Bearcat 980, and thinking those are probably what will be remembered 20 years from now as the great radios of their time. But that's my opinion. Bobby Scott says the farthest you've heard was Alaska. Believe me, as the conditions change, you'll hear more. Pawpaw saying, I have the predator pressure also here. I've made them house and closed the pen. Yeah, that's what we'd like to do. At some point, I want to build the second stream on my property. I want to build it into a pond so they have a place to hang. And I want to net the whole thing, because we also lose animals to hawks quite frequently here. In fact, I lost like 5 chickens in about 3 months to some hawks. Real heavy duty problems this spring with that. So I would love to do that, man. I hope yours stays safe. The other problem we have here with coyotes is even with electric fence, the little boogers dug under and got to the chickens earlier this year as well. Morgan's saying losing pets stinks. He had a golden retriever, lost him to cancer, a little over 5.5. Man, that's awfully young too. Had a cat, kidney failure. Henry had sudden. He had a tumor, cancerous tumor that we didn't know about in his intestinal area, and it was 3 days. He was fine. He was fine. He was fine for years and years. And all of a sudden I noticed he was a little more bony on his back, and I went to check on him because he wasn't acting right. When I picked him up, I noticed his belly was all distended. I took him down to the doctor's office. He took one look at him and said, no, not going to happen. So that was it. Very unexpected, very tough week. Dotson. Yeah. The hoagie roll. The Dotson, yeah. And I think my wife would love to get one of those too. But again, like a Dotson would get eaten here. If I let it outside, which is not fair to keep a little doggy like that inside all the time. If I let him out to run, man, a coyote or a hawk or a bear or whatever, something's going to chomp on that thing, and they're so happy-go-lucky that it wouldn't take long. This is talking about skip. Clear skies, better skip talking. Yeah, usually that's the case. Howie Mack, I live near Northeast Pennsylvania, small town homesteader. My Mennonite and Amish neighbors have taught me much about homesteading and life in general. Mennonites and Amish are awesome. I don't know religiously. I have no real knowledge of them other than I know that they live off grid. They live without the comforts that we've all come to expect. If you can't respect somebody or an entire culture for choosing to do that, choosing to keep the old ways, then I think you've got something screwy in the head. I've never personally talked with any of them. I've seen them occasionally when I've been on vacation or in an area, Ohio. I think I ran across a group of them. But those people, like, the power goes out tomorrow and never comes back on. They won't even notice, or maybe they'll notice, but they'll make do. And that lost art that we all are suffering from, it's not lost to them. So I wish people would look to them and learn those ways. And, like the tiny house has become popular. I wish that would become popular again. Jason Kane's talking about, geez, man, that sounds like a very interesting round. I'll have to check that out. They're saying that the Amish, they're down to earth people willing to help out anyone. Trucking, I would stop and buy fresh vegetables and cheese from them. Good. They always seemed approachable. I know they're private in their personal lives, but they have to make a living too. They have items that they have to be able to trade or barter for or sell or whatever. Because like anything, there's certain things you can't make. You can't make nails. You have to be able to barter for that or sell that. So they live in a different lifestyle, but they still have to interact with the modern world. And I think they handle it pretty well. Native Americans as well. Cool. Guys, it's been almost 2 hours. I'm kind of tired. We've lost a lot of our members. We're down to about 14. This night was fun. I knew the viewership would not be what it was last time. Last time we had almost 1,000 people on here. That's a lot of people. But I appreciate all of you. I do want to say that, from here on forward, the channel is going to drop back just slightly. There's been some changes that are going on right now. So my videos, while I was doing 3 a week and more recently 2 a week, starting next week, it'll probably only be 1 a week. I'll try to make those videos worth watching, good content instead of lots of content. And I'll try to log in here whenever I can. But just changes. I want to thank every one of you for being a part of the channel, for helping me reach 10,000 views or 10,000 subscribers. We're almost at, 10. I've gained another 100 in just this week. So thank you. I want you all to think about, the things that you're happy about in life and focus on the good things. So be good with everyone. Lord is asking, is that a Yugo? That is a Yugo. Check out my other videos. You'll get a good look at the Yugo. Papa, I'll be looking at your channel here soon to see that video on the saw, because I'm kind of very interested in that. Take care. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you next time. This is Eric, the owner of Farpoint Farms, and this has been my celebration of 10,000 views. Take care.